Hello, folks. Welcome back. Chris in Central Pennsylvania. An earth-shattering decision today in the sentencing of economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema, who was sentenced to 5 years custodial care. Prison, 5 years for Julius Malema, after all the things he's done to harm South Africa. Speaking outside the court afterwards, of course, he was obstinate. But let's take a look and listen to some of the comments he made in his remarks after the 5-year sentencing. First, Malema said, "Today was not an easy day. No doubt, the comeuppance of a race-hustling, vile, repulsive human being who has incited violence and murder of others is long overdue." Not an easy day for Malema, no doubt about that. Now, Malema claims that Magistrate Toinette Olivier is racist. Yes, he said, it is possible she's a member of AfriForum. Well, that is defamation of character against Ms. Olivier. And also, it's a criminal injury case potentially for AfriForum. AfriForum's not racist, and the fact that he stated that, only a racist would say such empty-headed things. Is he a racist? I've never really thought Julius Malema was a racist. I think he's a race opportunist. But calling her a racist is beyond the pale. And it just shows the man can't take responsibility for any of his actions, endangering public safety. He has no regard for South Africans. And as the prosecutor said, waiting for the sentencing, he said that Julius Malema took South Africans for fools. And he did, lying about a toy gun, and then also colluding to have the receiver removed so the ballistics wouldn't match. Just idiotic stuff. He also claimed that Olivier does not write her own judgments, and claims that her delivery was from an invisible hand. What? Like the Broderbond? What are you talking about, an invisible hand? So again, he thinks that she's manipulated after how thorough she was in explaining the circumstances on the first day and then his sentencing on the second day. Also, Julius, she didn't render a judgment here. You're not a very bright individual. You said someone else writes her judgments. This wasn't a judgment. This was a sentencing. Perhaps you should learn the English language before you try to venture into that pit. He said, "I'm going to the highest court where they don't use emotions, they use the law." Well, actually, that's exactly what happened in this court. The law was applied. And a malcontent who avoided justice for 8 years is finally sentenced. And he'll continue to evade justice as he takes a Jacob Zuma-like Stalin-Gad approach to try to delay his time in prison and have it overturned. There's no basis to overturn his sentencing. He said, "Even if you kill Malema, another Malema is born. I will take, and they will take the Freedom Front forward." Is this a dead man walking? Another Malema is born? Nobody wants to kill Julius Malema. We all want to see him in prison suffering for his conduct. No one wants to see him dead. We want to see him suffer in prison. He wants to play the role of martyr. He's not going to become one. He criticized the police presence outside the courthouse, saying that you bring a special task force in court when there's a problem of extortion in Umtata. Not really sure what he's referring to there. But I can say the following. Does anybody remember Brockenfell and the domestic terrorism of the EFF? Trashing car lots, destroying vehicles, and attacking people in the streets and running away like little babies when the water cannon was turned on them. They tried to intimidate children at a school. They tried to harass children at school. This is who the EFF is. Their actions were unconscionable. But it wasn't just Brockenfell. Do you all remember the domestic terrorism of the Clicks incident when the EFF riled up its fighters to go out and attack Clicks locations? 43 Clicks stores across South Africa were attacked. One was petrol bombed. This was domestic terrorism. So you can understand why the police would have a presence, because the history of the EFF is violence and threats against public safety. So he can criticize all he wants. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Now he said, "We are led by fools, and all these fools must be removed from power." Well, I agree. The EFF is led by a fool and fools, and they must be removed from power and from parliament. They are a dangerous party that resorts to violence all too often and believes in killing other South Africans based on their skin color, falsely claiming it's a liberation song, one that They didn't exist, so it's not their song. Down with AfriForum, he said. Why? A civil rights organization that fights on behalf of South Africans, black, white, and brown, and you have a problem with that. Because they're effective and you're not, because they're soaring in popularity and you're declining, you attack AfriForum. What we have here, folks, is an unrepentant, race-hustling, convicted felon that incites South Africans to violence. And once again, he proves it on this day. Standing up there, I repeat, kill the Boer, the farmer. Dubul Ubunu. That's who Julius Malema is. He's a dangerous person who incites people to violence and who has gotten away with all kinds of shenanigans for years. And now it's time to pay the piper. He, of course, will appeal this and take the Stalingrad defense and make this stretch out for years. But it's been 8 years, long overdue. Never mind the assaulting a senior police officer at Winnie Mandela's funeral. Never mind inciting people to commit murder. Never mind the VBS scandal. Never mind all of the other things he's done. He's finally been brought to justice. And his response, the magistrate is racist. Down with AfriForum. Predictable. Not a surprise at all. But that's who Julius Sellotape Malema is. What say you, South Africa, Mzansi? Do you agree or disagree? Cheers.